all of your questions. So yeah, feel free to ask at any point. So, like I said, thank you for your time. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a background about me. So, I'm originally from Russia. I've been in South Africa for about 17 years. I started my career in a call center. Funny enough, I started as a consultant. So working in a call center for within a motor industry. I was there for about 4 or 5 years. During that period, I've went from a call center to a team leader to into a management position, and into then work my way up to managing some of the key accounts. And before I got headhunted by one of the largest lead generation companies in South Africa, with whom I then worked for about 8 years, before I relocated to Cape Town. When I moved down to Cape Town, I wanted to still pursue my, because I've got big passion for marketing and sales. That's what I studied. That's what I'm good at. And I still wanted to pursue that, pursue my passion. And one of the challenges we've had at that point is we wanted to create a sales force, a call center set up in Cape Town. But what we've realized that the talent wasn't just all in Cape Town. It was throughout the whole country. And with a call center that is based in a specific location, it would be impossible to attract that talent. So where this idea was born of virtual call center is at that point where we said, well, why always be limiting ourselves by only recruiting within a 10-15 kilometer radius? How can we tap into different areas in the country and provide an opportunity to people that can work remotely? So this was about 2 years ago. I was fortunate enough to secure some investment. An investment company in Cape Town that also liked the idea, and we started developing the platform, the Virtusell platform, which you guys will be using to actually work. And it took us about a year to develop the platform. We did a few tests last year, and we actually launched it in the beginning of this year properly. And it's been a great success. It's been a good success story. Through my years in marketing and sales, I've managed to build good relationships, strong key partnerships with big corporates who we currently look after, and we do various services for them, from lead warming or appointment setting to sales to customer care, retentions, anything you can think of. So any form of marketing, which generally involves a telemarketing as well. What I'd like to also then just so the whole concept that we wanted to create is basically to allow freedom and flexibility to individuals that are striving to generate a steady stream of income, whereby this is not a it's not a gimmick, it's not a Ponzi. This is a legitimate work opportunity where you will be required to obviously work. Like nothing comes easy in life, and it all requires work, but you will get remunerated for your work, and you can really get good at this, and you will then grow from into different roles. So you could be starting at the lead warming, appointment setting side. You could then move to a sales role. You could then move into a field agent role, or you could also then become a business owner, which I will get to in a minute. So basically we've launched the platform. We've obviously been running for a few months now. The COVID pandemic has actually played into our hands, because it enabled us to provide our system, our software, to a lot of companies that were stuck at that point, and they couldn't move their staff remote. So we gave them our platform to use, and then we've also then went out and managed to give employment, give work opportunity to people that were in need of that income, that they've lost because of retrenchments and companies just not being able to function like they did before. Where we find ourselves now is that obviously things are stabilizing and we are on a growth in our growth phase. So we are onboarding new consultants for various campaigns that we have available, and we are looking for dedicated people that will be making this their career. So we're in this for the long run, and yeah, we hope you stick around with us on this exciting journey. So I always draw a comparison between Virtusell and Uber model, because I think that's something that's it's quite easy to understand. So we with Uber as they're obviously a company that creates, it's a software company that created an application that enables people to link up with them and service their clients by offering a taxi service. So Virtuell is very similar in that, or there's certain similarities, but it's not the same. It's based on the same principle, whereby you as an individual can join a platform that allows you to generate income. So that is true. The only difference is that with Uber, there's much bigger expenses to join the platform. So obviously you need to have a car, which is your starting point. You need to have insurance on the car, and it's a specialized insurance. You need to then be able to look after that car, maintenance, repairs, and that can cost you thousands and thousands of rands every month. And the income that the Uber drivers make is the profit margin of that is very little, and what they actually end up taking home is very small after all the expenses. And should something happen to that car, you have an accident, or then you don't have work, and then you're stranded without income. Where with Virtuell, it's a similar concept, but your starting point is you don't need any. It's just very easy to join. So all you need is a laptop or PC. Even a tablet is fine. Even a mobile phone is also okay. But mobile phones, obviously, the screen is much smaller, so it's not as convenient for you to work on as a laptop or PC. And all you need is internet connection. So we prefer fiber or ADSL because it's the most stable internet currently available in South Africa. 4G does work. Our systems can run, but 4G is dependent on weather. It's also dependent on strength of the signal, how many people are using it in that area, and so forth. So it's not as reliable, but it can work. So if you have good router with a good 4G signal, it will work. We've obviously done tests and to verify that you guys are all good to go from the systems perspective. And then we provide you with everything else. So we give you a system that you will be logging into. We're going to give you the customers to contact. We're going to give you the products, any support and training. And we don't expect you to obviously work as a typical call center where it's a highly pressured environment. You've got a manager that's generally like pushing you to hit numbers. We want to obviously change that whole concept by giving you the freedom to be able to motivate yourself, choose your own hours. Instead of being stressed, be calm on the phone. Instead of waking up early in the morning so that you can catch a taxi or drive to work, which costs you lots of money and time, you can wake up calmly, do your chores, take your kids to school, and then you will, after having a coffee, you can start working, which is a much more pleasant way of doing things. If you struggle to hit your numbers, that's when we will get involved and we will step in and we'll try and assist you with achieving your targets. But if your numbers are good and you are performing, we don't interfere. So we just leave you alone to carry on doing, because you obviously managed to get that right. So But the support is available should you need it. And then in terms of working hours, so the working hours are Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, so it's standard business hours. In order for this to be meaningful, we do recommend at least putting in 40 to 45 hours a week. You can work till 8 p.m. So if you want to make an arrangement with us to say that you can only start work at 9 and you want to finish at 6, that's fine. We can obviously we are flexible that way. Initially, and also on Saturdays, you can work between 9 and 1. So it's optional if you want to generate more sales, you want to make more money, or if we find that we're behind target, then I will ask you if you want to work on a Saturday, just to obviously help out. In terms of the data that you will be giving to call the customers, initially in the first couple of days, you have grace period. You're still learning, you're still getting used to your script, and you're refining your pitch. So we don't give you there's two types of leads that we have. We've got the call data, which is profiled according to the customer spec, and we also do a little bit of marketing, which generates a hotter lead. But those leads will only start coming to you once you find your rhythm. So you need to show that you are reaching your targets in terms of your KPIs, and those are that you need to be making at least 300 calls a day. So between 250 is a minimum, but ultimately 300 calls a day, which is roughly about 25 calls, 25 to 30 calls per hour. Our conversations are very long, short on the lead warming side. It's about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. So it's important that you don't spend too much time between the calls because you want to try and get out as many calls as possible. You want to replace as many calls as you can, because you know the more calls you make, the more sales you're going to generate. So it's all about the numbers. Naturally, for every 10 calls that you'll make, you're going to get 1 to 2 sales. So if you're making 200 calls or 300 calls, so if you're making 200 calls, you're going to get 20 sales, 15 to 20 sales. If you're making 300 calls, you should be making between 25 to 30 sales a day. So your first metrics that you need to look at, and when you're planning your day, is how many calls am I making per hour? So that's the first one. 30 calls an hour is a golden rule in the lead warming campaign, which gets you to your target. The next one is your contactability, so your connected calls, which is basically how many clients you've actually managed to speak to. The next one is talk time, which is also an important one. Talk time is obviously linked to your calls. So if you speaking to clients, we expect at least 3 to 4 hours talk time per day. That means you're being productive and you're actually pitching and you're engaging with customers. And then your sales, you should be at least doing 15 sales a day. That's what we want you to get to from the start. And you can generate as many sales as you like. We have consultants that are doing 20, 25 a day on average. We've got some guys who shoot the lights out and they do 30, 40 a day. So it's up to you how much you generate. Obviously, the more sales you make, it puts you in a higher bracket. So all your sales for the month will be collected together, so they will be consolidated, and then depending on which tier you fall under. So I'm sure you've seen in your contract, we've got the first tier, you got the second, third, and the fourth. So then each tier you get a higher fee per sale. So the more sales you generate per day, accumulatively, it will give you more sales for the month. That will put you in a higher tier, meaning that you're going to earn more money at the end of the day. Then in terms of your daily stats, so your stats will be given to you. You'll see it on your dashboard, so you can search by the date range and either see it for the day, for the month, or for the cycle. Our production cycles work from the 26th of each month till the 25th of the following month, the 25th being the cutoff. So we're currently in a almost new cycle, which started on the 26th. We're on day 3, so we still have 18 days of the cycle left. You will be giving your stats regularly, daily, and also you can check your stats on your own dashboards when you log into the dialing system. Um, in terms of the dispositions that you guys will see, so basically, what I'd like to just make a note of is when you do start, it's important that you give a good first impression, because you're not just representing Virtusell, you're also representing the customer, the client, the brand that that you are servicing. So either it's clientele, Hollard, Cartrack, My Way, Old Mutual, whoever the client is, the brand that you're working on, you are representing that brand. We always obliged to share the call recordings with those brands, so we need to make sure that our consultants sound professional, they are courteous and pleasant, always sounding interested. We'd like you to obviously don't talk too fast when you're speaking to clients. You want to be able to match your voice to theirs, so their tone and their pace, that's what you need to be matching to when you're speaking to the clients. Because if you talk too fast and you have a person that naturally speaks slower than you, he will not understand what you're saying. If you're speaking too slow and the person is in a rush, or he just naturally speaks very fast, he'll get frustrated with you. So it's important that when you start the conversation with the client, each call, you need to adjust your tone and your pace. You don't want to speak too loud, because that will irritate the client. You also don't want to be too soft, because the client won't be able to hear you. So the first rule is, you've got 30 seconds of your conversation to make a first impression. And in those 30 seconds, you need to discover who you're speaking to, and you need to adjust your pitch based on that. So you need to adjust your tone and adjust your pace. Always speak calmly. You don't want to stress the client out. You don't want them to feel like you are stressed for target, or you're under pressure, because that's they're going to hear that in your voice. So you want to be calm. Doesn't matter what's happening in your environment, what's happening in your life. When you're speaking to someone, it's almost as if that person is standing in front of you. So when you meet someone for the first time, within the first 30 seconds, you develop an image of that person, which then sticks forever, and you can't make your first impression twice. So make sure that every time you start the conversation, doesn't matter how the previous call has ended, just remember that you're meeting this person for the first time, and treat them as a brand new customer, and make sure that you are speaking to them as if they were right in front of you. So stand up, smile, adjust your tone, adjust your pace, pause when you're giving information. So don't just keep on going on and on and on like a robot, like a machine. You need to pause. You need to make sure that the customer is listening to you. Are they engaging? And keep your pitch low. Don't sound like a car salesman. Hey, how you doing? Like when you come in too hot into the call, the person can hear straight away that you're trying to sell them something. And remember that you are not selling them anything. So it's important that you don't sound like a car salesman on the showroom floor. So keep your pitch low. You're not selling anything, and use that to your advantage. When the person says, no, I'm not interested, because they think you're selling them something, you can say, sir, I'm not selling you anything. Actually, in fact, I want to add value to your day. I've already helped 100 other clients today with this offering that we've got, and this is how it can help you. And then you handle your objections, and you go through the call, you go through the motions. You need to read the client in order to be able to change your approach. You can't just use the same approach for every single client, because all clients are different. Everyone is very different. Everyone has very different backgrounds. Everyone has had different days that they're going through. So it's important that you understand that, and you adapt. You need to be like a chameleon when you're dealing with customers. You need to adapt to every situation. So be polite and be friendly. Always be honest and represent your intention. So explain to the client why you're phoning them. Don't try and lie to them or give them some other excuse why you're phoning them. Always remember the name. So once the client has given you the name, refer to them by their name. Don't ask the clients if you're speaking to so and so very early in a conversation, because if you do that, there's a chance that the name is not correct on our database, or the network has recycled that number, or somebody else is using that phone. So rather, introduce yourself, go according to your script, introduce yourself first, explain why you're calling, and only once you've done the pitch, then you can down the line in a conversation find out if you are speaking to the right client, or you can ask the client to confirm their name. If you find that you're speaking to a female and you've got a gentleman's name on the system, then don't ask to speak to that person. If someone answers the phone, you're able to pitch to that person, and that's the rule. So the person that's answering the phone doesn't know if you have their name in front of you or not. So if you give them the wrong name, that gives them a way to end that call. They'll be, sorry, wrong number, and that's client gone. So if you don't introduce yourself and ask for their name straight away, that way you don't create an objection that you need to handle. Make the customer feel like they are the number one. So make them feel important, make them feel special. Always have positive attitude, sound energetic, sound awake. Don't sound like you're half asleep. Find out more information about the client. Ask questions. It's always okay to ask questions. Always start your conversation in English. That's the business language. It's official business language of South Africa. And a lot of clients will get all of their policy wordings and their documents in English. Unless the client cannot speak English, then you can switch to another language, but always start your conversation in English. If the client can't speak, find out a convenient time for a callback. Always leave positive impression about yourself and the organization you're representing. Thank the clients for their time. If you don't know an answer to a question, it's okay to put them on hold or ask them to hold. But when you come back to the client, always thank them for their time. Set yourself small goals. So if you have an objective to make 30 sales in a day, break it down into hourly goals and set yourself an objective to then make, as an example, 3 sales an hour or 4 sales an hour, and keep yourself accountable. So making sure that you're achieving smaller goals will give you that gratification, knowing that you are on the right track and you will get to your big goal. So if you want to make 500 sales in a month, break it down into daily goals, and then break those daily goals into hourly smaller goals. So if it's 500 sales in a month, that's about 25 sales in a day. It's about, let's say, 4 sales in every hour. So break down your big goals into smaller goals. Always handle your objections. So handling objections doesn't come naturally, and you will be faced with a lot of objections. So naturally, when you phone someone, they're not interested in whatever you want to pitch to them. So you need to create that interest. It's important that when you get an objection that you don't. So when you start your call, you're going to be all enthusiastic. You're going to be positive. You're going to be pumped. When you get an objection, what normally happens is that you get demotivated and you get discouraged to continue. So then the client can hear that and they feel that you're not confident in what you're selling to them. So then why must they say yes to you for them to go through to the sales round? You need to handle that objection with the same enthusiasm and say, thank you, sir. I'm so glad you asked. I get this question a lot. And then you handle the objection in the right way. We will give you some tips on how to overcome certain objections. So Tarai, my coach, he's going to be in contact with you, and he is also going to be supporting and helping you guys with those. And we're not going to go into too much detail now because we will run out of time. So if you do struggle with objections, feel free to ask. Then the last point on what you should be doing is you should be asking for referrals. So when you see a conversation is going in the right direction, ask the client if they can give you somebody else, that maybe their friend, maybe their brother, maybe their sister, maybe their mother, somebody else that they can also, that you can phone, and you then use the person that gave you the referral as your foot in the door. So if I get a referral from, let's say, if I phone you and I'm speaking to Larry, and Larry becomes a sale, and I qualify Larry, I say, Larry, that's great, thank you very much for that, and I really appreciate it. Do you have maybe one or two more people that you think would be interested in this product? You then take down the details and you contact those people, and you say, Larry gave me, or Larry mentioned to me, based on my conversation that I just had with him, that you might be interested in what the product he just took up with me, or the product that he was interested in. This is what this product's about. We can save you money, or we can give you these sort of benefits, and you use that as a foot in the door to be able to get more sales. We don't allow referrals outside of our leads. So you can't create referrals from your own phone or people that haven't given it to you. We will be verifying each referral, and it needs to come from a lead that's in the system given to you. So don't make a mistake, and because those referrals will get rejected and they will get disqualified. Furthermore, on the don'ts, so what you shouldn't be doing is, don't ever be rude. Okay, that's, if you get frustrated, don't take it out on the clients. Okay, we don't want to have any complaints, and we specifically don't want to get those complaints to head office or the brands that you represent. Don't leave messages because people don't phone back, and if you do phone the number back, it doesn't come through to you. Don't be dismissive. Don't ever be misleading. Don't take rejections personally. So if the person says they're not interested and you've tried your best and they say they're still not interested, don't take it personally. It's not anything that you're doing. Pick yourself up and make another call. You're going to get to that. Every call that says no is going to give you you're getting closer to the person that's going to say yes. So don't take it personally, and just carry on going. Don't be talking to someone in the room with you. So we always hear that some people are as the phone ringing, before the client answers, there's conversations happening in the background. That gets recorded. So from the time you press the call button, it starts recording the conversation. If we need to submit that call recording to our client, or we have to listen to it ourselves, we don't want to be hearing all the conversations that are happening in the background. So it's important that you guys, as soon as you press the call button, you're on call. Okay, so don't have conversations or eat food, or you know what I mean. This is your work time, so be professional. Don't ask the client, how are you? It's none of your business. So whenever you start the conversation, introduce yourself first. Okay, introduce why and the reason why you're calling. Down the line, you can say, I hope you're doing okay today. I hope you're having a good day. But don't ask the client how they are. People are they're very unsettled at the moment with everything that's going on. So people are not well. And because the client says, I'm not well. And then how are you going to overcome that? So don't go and ask them, how are you, straight in the beginning of the conversation. And again, it's not good practice. It's not good manners. So do it. First, introduce yourself, why you're calling, represent the product and the reason for your call, and then you can ask if they're okay. Or I hope you're doing well, or I hope you're having a nice day. If the clients struggle to hear you, don't shout. I think that's quite. So if they can't hear you, try and also change your tone. See why is it on every call, and if it is a technical issue, then please let us know so we can assist. In terms of your dispositions, you will get. There's all the dispositions are pretty self-explanatory, except for 4 that I want to go into. So there's 2 dispositions that are quite similar, but they're actually very different. So no answer and voicemail, people often get them confused. So a no answer is when a phone rings. Okay, so you're actually getting, it's a live number, the phone rings, but no one answers it. our system will reattempt that client again a few hours later. A voicemail is when the phone doesn't ring at all. And so when you press call, it goes straight to voicemail. That means that phone is off, it's not in use. And that number will be removed from the queue. So it's important that you use the right dispositions, because no answers doesn't mean that it's a bad lead. No answer means that the person is just not available at this moment to speak to you. So when you call him again, we do get hold of that person, or we're at least going to attempt again, because we know that number works. If it goes straight to voicemail, only then do you put it as a voicemail. So please don't get confused between those two. And then the other two is there you'll find there's a callback and there's a schedule. So a callback is when you phone the client and the client says, listen, I'm driving at the moment, please phone me back later. So you haven't had a chance to pitch to the client. You haven't gone as far as saying hello and you introduced yourself. Then put it as a callback. Our system will send that callback again, will reattempt that callback again a few hours later. The schedule is if you find that you've had a pitch and the client is interested and the client is keen on your product, but maybe they didn't have the details on hand at that time. Maybe they got pulled into a meeting or whatever the reason is, but you know it could be a potential sale. Then you can press schedule. Or if the client asks you to specifically call them at a specific time, then you can press schedule, and it actually gives you an option to schedule a call for a specific date and a specific time. It will then come up on your screen and it will remind you to call that client at that time. And then when you call, it will obviously, you can also then use that to say, hi, sir, you asked me to call you at 5 because you were busy. This is why I'm phoning you. So the person now remembers having a conversation with you, and then you can carry on with the call, and you can get the sale. Those scheduled calls should be only potential sales, because you're building up a pipeline of hot prospects. So after a while, as the time goes, as you've been with us for a few days, you will be creating callbacks and you're scheduling callbacks. So you want to make sure that when those callbacks start coming up, that they're not just empty, dead leads that don't give you anything in return. You want to make sure that you've got strong pipeline that you've created of potential sales, that all you need to do is just finalize it. So it's very important that you're creating a solid pipeline of potential sales, because it was going to give you success. So handling your objections, scheduling good callbacks, asking for referrals, being professional and courteous to the clients, knowing your product well, all of those things that I just mentioned that's what will give you the success that you need. Okay, I'm going to move into now a quality assurance side of things. So we have a QA team, a quality assurance team, which listens to non-sales calls, and they also listen to all the sales calls. So when you make a sale, it first goes to our QA team. Our QA coaches they'll listen to those sales, and then they have a scorecard that they follow. So they will obviously check for all the right things, making sure that you've qualified the lead correctly, and make sure that client was interested in getting for the appointment that you've scheduled with the sales consultant. So they look for what QA team looks for is basically the following. So make sure that you're mentioning the benefits of the product. It's not good enough just to ask qualifying questions. If the person doesn't understand the product, when they go to the sales team, they won't know why they're there. So yes, they qualify for the product, but then the salesperson has to start again from the beginning. So it's important that you mentioning the benefits of the product, and it's quick and brief benefits. When you're asking qualifying questions, get a clear yes or no answer. If the client says, okay, yeah, it's not good enough. You need to get clear yes or no. It's not negotiable, but it's also not difficult. So is it a yes or no? The client must tell you yes or no. If the client is employed part-time, they won't qualify. So they need to be full-time employed. If the client is self-employed, ask if the income requirement has been consistent for the last 5 to 6 months. We want to make sure that they can afford the product that we are sending them for. So it's not just about them being interested in the product, it's also about affordability. If the client has been quoted by the brand that you're pitching for, you can end the call because they've already received the quote in the last month from that client. If the client has an existing cover with that insurer, again, you end the call, or you can maybe pitch them a different product. Don't ever be cheeky or rude with the clients. Never hang up on the clients. Do not sound if you're reading the script. So we will do role plays with you. So it's important that you guys memorizing your script and that it sounds natural. You are welcome to make certain words your own, but don't change the structure of the script. It is developed that way over time because we know that what works. That gets the most sales. It gets to the point. It gets you sales, and it gets sales for the sales team. Allow the clients to speak and handle your objections only twice. So you don't want to be forcing the product onto the client. You handle it twice. You handle it professionally, and then if you after handling it at least twice, then you can let that go. If the client's asking you questions, that's good. That's good because that means they're listening. They're listening to what you're saying. So they're not just there doing something else, cooking, driving, or working, or playing with kids. If they're asking you questions, that's great. That means they're engaging. So that's a good client for you to speak to. So don't get discouraged if they ask you questions. Be prepared for those questions, but don't get discouraged when they do come up. Okay, guys, I think that's all on from my side regarding the process training and the QA side of things. When you now log into your next system, okay, so some of you already got details, and you will log into the next system, which is where you're going to be making the calls. You don't have campaigns created there just yet, but the first step is to make sure that you update your personal details. So put your full name, surname, make sure your cell phone number is correct, make sure your email address is correct. Remember that your email address is your username. So if you're going to change the email address from what there is currently, that's the email address you're going to need to use. You then can also change your password, so make sure that no one else can access your system and change your details. So create your own passwords. You then will be asked to provide a schedule that you will be comfortable working. So you can also provide those times. You will then be also given your banking details. So make sure your bank details are correct. I know a couple people here have Time Bank. We are busy adding that in because it's not currently an option. But that will be added before the month is done, and but I will let you know once that has been added. And then lastly, once you've finished, you'll see your dashboard. On the left hand side, you can see the menu bar, and we're going to be doing role plays later today to make sure that you are comfortable with your script. So you'll be getting a call from myself or one of the coaches, and we will want you to pitch to us if you're pitching the product to the client. That's not just to see whether you will get go through and you will work with us. It's not a disqualifying, or we're not going to reject if you haven't gotten it 100% right. But it's more to make sure that you sound natural and make sure that you're going to be successful when you're speaking to clients and you're going to close clients, and you don't develop bad habits very early in this job. So we will be doing role plays, and if you need a little bit of coaching or guidance, then that coaching will be given to you on the same call after the role play. And we will be then, once you've done the role plays today, you will be going live tomorrow, being the 1st of October. It's the new month, and you will obviously have the next couple, or until end of the week, to be able to practice and get to learn the system. And then from next week, Monday, which is the 5th of October, we will be then obviously running as normal. You should be up to speed and you should be generating quite good numbers. And we will be introducing other lead sources for you, but everything will be explained to you and made available as the time goes. Cool. Guys, I think that's all. The one last point I just want to make and explain around the network level marketing concept, which is something will be introduced to you once you are once you've been with us for a couple of months. You understand the business. You will be given opportunity to replicate yourself. So you will be given opportunity, should you want it, to become your own business owner. So you will be given opportunity to go out and recruit people and build your own team. And that gives you a downline of consultants that you've recruited and you're managing. So you can almost become your own team leader or call center manager, which then allows you to generate further income streams. So the concept is there. It is currently working, but before we go there, we just need to make sure that you are performing as an individual. We need to make sure that you understand the product, the systems, because you can't be teaching somebody or managing someone if you haven't mastered the trade yourself. So you first need to master this, and then you will be given an opportunity to build your own little business. So it's almost like a franchise that will be allowing you to start and create. So a business within a business. But we can also discuss that at a later stage. But that is something that will be available. And I think it's very exciting because it enables you to become an entrepreneur without having to set up your own business, and you're going to get mentors and you're going to get coaching and guidance. And more importantly, there's no funding that's required from your side. So you'll be able to have all the tools and everything that's necessary in order to start and kick off your business. Cool, guys. I'm now going to take some questions for the last 5-10 minutes. So you're more than welcome there. I haven't seen any questions come up in the chat. So if you do have any questions, please, you can start typing them now in your chat. Anything that's not clear, anything that I've maybe missed. And, it doesn't matter. Like, there's no such thing as silly questions. The question that you might have might be sitting in the back of someone else's mind. So, yeah, I'm here. So do we have a basic salary structure? So we don't have a basic as such. You are independent contractor, which means that you get paid for every single sale that you generate. Remember, you don't work from an office. This is slightly different. Where if you were coming to an office and you have getting a basic, generally with the basic you would have a minimum requirement that you would need to meet in order to qualify for that basic. If you don't meet that requirement, you're going to go into performance review, and then if you don't make that after a couple of weeks, or up to a month, you then basically don't have that job. Okay, so with us, we don't require you to make minimum requirement. We obviously want to guide you and say, okay, if you make X amount of sales, this is what it's going to give you at the end of the month. And if that's what you want to do, we will help you to get there. But if you decide that you only want to work half a day, as an example, or you are happy with generating only a few thousand rand a month, you can do that. Again, also you're working from home, so that's an environment that we don't control. So if you haven't paid your bills, your electricity goes off, you'll lose your internet, that's out of our control. So we can't be paying you a basic salary if we can't give you the environment to work from. So that's why. But we had people that came with basic salaries, and we put them onto our model, and now they take home more money than they did before, which is what we want to try and accomplish here. So another question here: the leads we get, are there people interested in the product? If so, where are they sourced? So you're going to get two types of leads. You're going to get cold data. So basically, these people have not showed any interest in the product, and you'll be doing cold calling. Okay. The other type of leads that we will get is people that have responded either to an AVM or SMS. So AVM is an automated voice message which we send out, and it's a short recording that plays to them, and they say, "Yes, I'm interested. Call me," and that comes to you. Or they've received an SMS, and on an SMS they responded, "Yes, I'm interested." That also comes to you. Or if they were online and they were either shopping online or they're doing a surveys online, and they've asked for a consultant to call them. So those are the type of leads that you will be getting. We obviously, the ones that that showed interest in the product cost us money to generate. So we need to make sure that you are ready to handle those leads. So like I said, this week you'll start with call data. We want to make sure that you are, and you will still generate sales from those leads. And then we will start rewarding you with the leads that have opted in. Any more questions? Come, guys, this is your time to shine. Any questions, any uncertainties, anything that you would like to clarify, welcome to ask. Yes, Donald, again, so from call data, is it cold calling? Yes, you'll be cold calling. So we'll give you basically how it works. So we'll take a product. Let's say it's clientele funeral as an example. We know for that product who is the ideal client. We then take that to our database, and then we say, okay, it's people of a certain age, it's people that are employed, it's people that have certain income, it's people that live in certain areas. And we then take that data, and then we also check that we haven't used it in the past for the same campaign, and then we load it into the system for you to contact. So it's not random records, it's not random customers, but it's people that should have the means of taking out this product. So you will be giving them a call, and you will be interesting them in the product. Currently now, obviously, people are scared about death, and if someone passes away in the family, an elder, generally speaking, they're at higher risk. So you want to make sure that you have a funeral cover in place that looks after your family, or looks after the finances of your family should something happen to the person. And it covers like up to 13 people in the family. So it's a sought out after product, which people really should have. Every individual in the country currently should have that product. And yeah, you're basically calling them to interest them and qualify them for the salesperson to do the sale, to do the close. Okay, so Mduduzi, how much do you pay for each sale? Mduduzi, that's it's given to you in your contract, so you can have a look at the last page. The commission structure is there. It ranges from 12 Rand 50 to 25 Rand, depending on which tier you're in. So 12 Rand 50 up to 25 Rand per sale. So if you're generating, as an example, 20 sales a day, okay, then you take that number and you times it by amount of days you will be working. So if you work for the full month and you don't have any absenteeism and you work 21 days in a month, then you take 20 times 21, which gives you 420. And then you look at 420 and see which bracket, which tier it falls into on your table. Then you see what the price is per the unit or sale, and you multiply that. So then you take, let's say if it's 20 times 420, then that gives you 8,400. if my math serves me right. So that's how you work out your commission structure. So, Donald, how do you choose which company do we represent? So, the companies that were given to you, or the training that was given to you, is based on two things. One is, where do we currently need agents? So, if it's a new product, or it's a product that a campaign that is growing, so our customers, our clients, let's say clientele as an example, they want us to send them more appointments, more leads, then they will ask us if we can increase our volume. In order for us to increase our volume, we need more consultants. So then we'll say, okay, I've got this campaign, I need an extra 10 consultants, and we'll make that available, and then we recruit those 10 consultants. Other way is if you have experience. So maybe you worked at clientele in the past, or maybe you worked at another company that sold funeral products. So it's based on either your experience and our demand. So those are the two metrics generally that we use to determine which campaigns you are given.